On October 8, 2025, FIFA has officially announced the ticket prices for the 2026 World Cup, and the differences are staggering. For a group stage match, you can get in for as little as $60, but anyone hoping to attend the final in New York will be looking at prices climbing up to more than $6,700. In this video, I'll walk you through the pricing details, explain how the new dynamic pricing system works, and explore what all of this means for the average fan dreaming of a seat in the stadium. The 2026 World Cup promises to be the biggest football tournament ever. For the first time, 48 countries will take part, spread across 3 host nations, the United States, Mexico, and Canada. In total, there will be 104 matches. That means more teams, more games, and of course, more tickets. But it also means greater distances and higher costs for anyone wanting to follow their team through the tournament. Just flying from Toronto to Los Angeles takes nearly 5 hours, and that says a lot about the logistical challenges awaiting fans. As if that weren't enough, FIFA is introducing something new: dynamic pricing. This system works in the same way as airline tickets or hotel bookings. When demand for a particular match is high, the price rises. If demand is lower, the price stays down or can even drop slightly. On paper, it makes sense, but for supporters, it feels more like losing control. At previous World Cups, you always knew exactly what a ticket would cost. Now you'll only find out the final price once you're in the online queue. The base prices are set, but the differences between rounds are huge. The cheapest tickets are in the group stage, starting at $60, around €55. That sounds reasonable, especially compared to sporting events in the United States, where tickets for NBA or NFL games are often more expensive, but that's just the beginning. Once the knockout rounds start, the amounts climb quickly. A round of 16 match costs at least $160. A quarterfinal ranges from $300 to $400. Semifinals start at $700. And then there's the final in New York at the massive MetLife Stadium. There, prices can skyrocket to $6,730 for a Category 1 seat, and that doesn't even include the extremely expensive hospitality packages FIFA offers to sponsors and wealthy fans. Those hospitality packages are a story of their own. For tens of thousands of dollars, you don't just get a better seat, but also access to exclusive lounges, catering, and VIP experiences. FIFA presents this as a luxury product for companies and elite guests, but for ordinary supporters, they're completely out of reach. It only widens the gap between fans. On one side, a handful of people who can afford a premium experience, and on the other, millions who simply hope to grab a reasonably priced ticket. So what does this mean in practice for someone who wants to follow their team from start to finish? Let's do the math. 3 group stage matches at $60 each comes to $180. Add a round of 16 match for $160, a quarterfinal for $400, and a semifinal for $700. Now imagine paying around $3,000 for a final ticket. Altogether, you're already over $4,000, and that's just for tickets. You still haven't booked a flight, paid for hotels, or bought food. Especially in cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Toronto, those extra costs are sky high. Hotel rooms easily cost hundreds of dollars per night, and in stadiums, a single beer can set you back $10 to $15. The total bill for a fan following their team through the tournament could easily reach tens of thousands. So it's no surprise that criticism has already started. Supporters groups in Europe and South America argue that these prices make the tournament inaccessible to the average fan. Even in wealthier countries like England and Germany, people complain that the World Cup is becoming an event only for the elite. FIFA's response is to highlight the $60 entry-level tickets, stressing that there are options for every budget. But in reality, everyone knows that the most exciting matches come later in the tournament, the very games where tickets are the least affordable. If we compare with previous tournaments, the difference is striking. In Qatar in 2022, group stage tickets started at around $40, and a final ticket cost about $1,600. Go back further to Russia in 2018 or Brazil in 2014, and group tickets were often between $20 and $30. The jump to 2026 is huge. The cheapest final seats are now more than 4 times the price of 4 years ago. Of course, stadiums in North America are larger and costs are higher in the US, but to many fans it feels excessive. And that brings us to the experience itself.
Using offensive language, please do not smoke in the seating area or restrooms.
MetLife Stadium is one of the biggest stadiums in the world.
MetLife Stadium has always been the gold standard in security, and they had turned the corner where they were starting to look at the next level, where security going.
The World Cup has always been a festival of diversity, with fans from every corner of the globe coming together. Think of the colorful Mexican sombreros, the Argentine drums, or the sea of orange from Dutch supporters. That energy made the tournament special. But with such high prices, there's a real risk that stadiums will be filled mainly with wealthy tourists and corporate guests, and that could change the atmosphere dramatically. There are, however, some positives. North American stadiums are enormous, which means that in absolute numbers there will still be many cheaper tickets available. The MetLife Stadium in New York alone seats over 80,000 fans, and the stadiums in Los Angeles and Dallas are similarly huge. The question is who will actually get those cheaper seats and how fast they'll sell out. For anyone seriously considering attending the World Cup, there are some ways to limit costs. The first is to act early. The sooner you try to book, the greater the chance of getting a cheaper ticket before dynamic pricing pushes it up. The second is to look at matches in Mexico or Canada. Not only are the tickets usually cheaper there, but hotel and food costs are much lower than in major US cities. And finally, consider attending just 1 or 2 matches instead of traveling the whole tournament. That way you can still experience the unique World Cup atmosphere without spending a fortune. All in all, the announcement of ticket prices shows that the 2026 World Cup will be spectacular in scale, but also one of the most expensive sporting events in history. From $60 for a group game to thousands for the final, the contrast is enormous. The new dynamic pricing system makes it unpredictable, leaving fans unsure of what they'll pay until the very last moment. For the average supporter, it will be incredibly difficult to attend multiple matches. So here's my question to you. How much would you be willing to pay for a World Cup ticket? Would you drop $60 for a group stage match? Or do you think FIFA has gone way too far? And what about the final? Would you ever consider spending thousands of dollars for that once-in-a-lifetime experience? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out my earlier videos on the stadiums and the World Cup draw. Make sure to subscribe for more updates on the road to 2026. See you next time.